Oh, I can't hear my microphone. Hey everyone, we're going live in 60 seconds. You can see we're still getting ready here. We will be live with you in about 60 seconds to 2 minutes, so stay tuned. So you want to know if orthotics are right for you. Well, in today's show, we're going to talk about the ethical discussion about orthotics and whether or not we believe that they're getting prescribed to too many people or whether we think that they're a good idea for you. Now, make sure you stick around to them because today I'm going to take you through my favorite ankle and foot bulletproofing routine, something that's kept me out of orthotics ever since I used them after a life-changing injury. So make sure you stick around right to the end so you can get the scoop on that. All that and more coming up.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.
Hey everyone, in case we haven't met, my name's Rad Burmeister. I'm one of the co-founders of Unity Gym and co-creators of the UMS, the Unified Movement System, where we take driven people and turn them into superhumans. The way we get such astonishing results with our members is that we've created a program that has a balance between strength and flexibility, and it works. If you want to know how we do that, the best way for you to, get a little bit of insight is to download our free flexibility blueprint. There's a link in the description of this video. Now, as always, I've got the legendary Phil White here with me, our resident physiotherapist and all-round good-looking guy. How are you, Phil?
Well, I've got my little dustings of a CMO coming through there, so just feeling, I don't know, I haven't even got my physio t-shirt on today. I don't know, I feel like a bit of an impostor.
Yeah, we had the police coming around this morning asking if you'd registered as a sex offender yet or not. Yeah. And no, sorry, no disrespect intended there. Just making a joke here in Australia. We always make jokes that when people have got these dirty moustaches that they look like...
But it's for a good cause for November, so if you're interested in helping out a good cause, go to my Instagram and hit the link in the bio to donate some money to a good cause for
that's right.
mental health.
So, today, the inside. Why practitioners prescribe orthotics and the risks with doing it. So we've a lot of this whole week really was spawned from a couple of people asking us questions about whether or not they need orthotics and whether we think it's a good idea. And we've talked about that a lot yesterday in today's show and the days before. Today we're going to have a little bit of a dive into, I guess, a little bit of a taboo subject, which is that we believe that a lot of people are prescribing orthotics when they shouldn't be, and a lot of people are prescribing, practitioners are prescribing orthotics for way too long for people, which is not a good idea. So we want to open up this show today with the ethical discussion around orthotics.
Yeah, I think it's just such a interesting place because it's they're very expensive. They're very expensive things, and if you go in, you get your foot measured up and this custom thing done, And then those, either they, like podiatrists will often make them in-house, or if you're seeing, another health practitioner who's just been approached by some company who, has a laser-guided thing with a weight pad, and then they send them off and send them, like, it's really expensive. And if you're not going through a podiatrist as well, then it's not covered by Medicare. But yeah, it's a cost thing, and it's what's best for you long term. Because if you get scared into the idea that, oh, there's something horribly wrong with my feet that I can't change because I was born like that because I have born with flat feet, and then you think you need that for the rest of your life, then that's $200, $300, up to like some orthotics are up to like $800 a pop, and they might last a year and a half. So if you keep doing that for the rest of your life, then like that's a huge cost. And so I think if you're seeing a health practitioner, I really recommend that if you have any issues with your feet, that you go and see a good podiatrist, because they are the absolute experts in this. Like, pick that over a physio for sure. If you can go and see them and they're not giving you advice on how you can help yourself, then I think they're selling you short there. So.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, it falls into the same category for me as doctors that are just really fast to prescribe drugs when they're not trying to look a little bit deeper and probe into what kind of foods are you eating, what kind of quality rest are you getting, what kind of exercise you're doing, and the first point of call is just take some drugs.
And I think with the ethical point of things here is that it's, we're not like saying that, all people who prescribe orthotics are bad, and no one, like, if you're using orthotics, you're an idiot. Like, it's all about patients understanding the choices that they have. And I just feel like so often, I guess you're not well informed when you go to see the health practitioner who, they know a lot about the subject, or at least look like they pretend they know a lot about a certain subject, and then they say like, hey, this is what you need, nothing, like, no options, no talk of like other things that you could be doing to save yourself a lot of money and a lot of time, and also to have the best result for your body. Like, if you want to go and have a holiday and just wear your thongs as you walk around, or flip-flops in America, while you walk around the beach, and you haven't had the education that if you only ever use these orthotics, you're going to be pretty useless without them. Then I think that's where it kind of gets a bit ethically dicey. So it's all about having the knowledge to ask questions and seeing practitioners who make it very much a two-way street about the type of care you get.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love, sorry, I'm just going to jump in. This is God speaking without a camera. I love the discussion point that was raised yesterday about the comparison with a plaster cast on a bone fracture. You would never expect to wear that plaster cast or a neck brace or something like that forever. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't hope to. There needs to be an exit strategy from that. And just like you get a lot of muscle wastage and stuff like that when you wear those sort of brace mechanisms. They serve a very important purpose at certain times after an issue's been discovered. But there needs to be an exit strategy from that. You need to get out of it, and you need to strengthen yourself again.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe we should be looking up here while you say that. So
no. I was just going to say thanks, Yanni, for making these amazing notes for me that had that exact point for me to read next. But I'm glad that you came in to make sure that I was doing my job properly. So
just quickly before you go, hello Holly and hello Quack.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's not Holly. That's exactly what I was going to do again. Thanks, Yanni. Hello Holey-K-Nights and Quack. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and thanks for commenting. And if you've just tuned in, please click the like button.
What is Holly's real name? This is like
what's
a mystery.
Your real name, bro?
This is a mystery that's eluded me for a long time, and I need to know now. So, Holey, please, what is your real name?
What's your real name? I know you've told us before, but we've forgotten. If you've just tuned in, please hit the like button. Let us know your name and where you're watching from, so we can give you a shout out. And also, if you've got, I've got two questions for you. If you know what they call thongs or flip-flops in New Zealand, can you please comment? Because it's absolutely hilarious. It's not thongs and it's not flip-flops.
Is it jandals?
Jandals!
It's jandals.
Those bloody Kiwis, man.
Yep.
It's all those sheep over
well,
there.
The Yanks will think that we're crazy because we call them thongs, and a thong has a very distinct, different meaning. In the US.
But the Yanks are wrong. It's jandals, though. I mean, anyway.
Back on topic.
Yep.
I think it might be a good time to talk a bit about some of the research that's out there about orthotics, because that can also, I guess, play into that ethical piece about, when you're seeing a health professional, ideally they're evidence-based and they're going by what the scientific consensus is saying to give you the best possible care as per the research that's been done. And so there are times when orthotics have been shown to be really useful, particularly in a painful high arch. So it's quite surprising. It was a Cochrane review in 2008. And when I read it, it was like pes cavus, and I was like, oh yeah, flat feet. And I was like, hang on, wait, cavus? So cavus is actually when you have really high arches. So when you have a painful high arch, that's when it can be quite useful. So it's, for those flat feet people out there, then, it's actually the opposite there.
Yeah.
And there was a really good review, a systematic review. So that a systematic review is when you look at lots of different randomized controlled trials, and then you put all the results together, and then you get a, it means that you can have a lot more data that gives you a bit more of a definite response. So, because sometimes with just if you look at one randomized controlled trial, it might look at a very small subpopulation, whereas if you get quite a few in there, then you can generally make a bit more confidence. But yeah, so when they looked at that, they were looking at plantar heel pain. So if you have heel, if it's painful through your heel and you're going in to get orthotics, they found that a custom orthotic generally has no better, they don't have a better result than a prefabricated one. So that might be the difference between paying $800 and $60 for it off the shelf.
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it?
So yeah, I mean, when I saw the podiatrist that I like to see down the road from here, very lucky to have such a good podiatrist nearby, Tom DeCanto, yeah, I was quite surprised. He was like, oh yeah, have this one. And then he kind of made a few little adjustments to it, and then he's like, oh, that'll see how that goes, and that saved me a whole lot of money and a lot of stress. So, and it was, and again with that, I used it for a short amount of time, and then that was just to get over the pain, so I could continue training, and then was able to go without it. So, yeah, just a bit of a insight into some of the research there.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just going to say quickly, so Abdu L is asking, please, how can I fix my scapular winging because I can't do pull-ups properly?
Well, orthotics are great for that.
Yeah, orthotics won't help you for that at all. So we're talking about orthotics today, brother. The best thing that you want to do is we've got a video called How to Fix Scapular Winging. It's if you go to our Unity Gym page, the YouTube page, it's one of the most... Yanni's going to link it right now in the description. In the comments, sorry. So you'll get it in just a sec, man. Click on that and watch that.
I was beginning to think that was actually just Yanni commenting from another account.
Yeah.
Just to link in more videos.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now, before we continue this discussion, we're going to go out on the gym floor and I'm going to show you my favorite exercises to keep the feet strong and keep you out of orthotics. So let's do that, and then we'll come back in here and continue the discussion. Anyone that has any questions, please put them in the comment box. And if you've just tuned in, hit the like button, leave a comment with your name and where you're watching from. And we'll get there. So thanks, Quad. Thanks for commenting.
It's getting to that time of the week where we're planning for future topics as well. So if there's anything, like we've just had a comment about the scapular wing, if there's anything in particular that you want to know more about, then it could be a good time to give us some comments.
Yeah. So Phil has no idea what I'm going to be doing here, so I'll probably
I've seen this before. Yeah.
So the first one is just called an open kinetic chain circle, but people just circle their ankle like this, and that's doing 2/5 of stuff all. What I'm trying to do is intentionally pull my toes and down as far as it'll go this way, then pull them out as far as it'll go this way, then up as far as they'll go this way. So I'm really trying to activate the muscles to create movement in the ankle. And this is none of this is really specific to keeping you out of orthotics, it's just keeping your feet healthy. Okay?
Yeah, again, treating the foot like the rest of the body. For the rest of the body, we do mobility exercises, get the joint moving through the whole range of motion. Again, we should treat the feet in the same way.
Then I like to also do closed kinetic chain.
So just for a bit of terminology there, so when you're not touching the ground or not touching rings or a bar, then that's open chain. And when now you're in contact with a surface, that's the closed chain.
That's right.
So
now I like to do calf raises with 3 different positions. So the first one is my feet facing forward, going up as high as I can on my toes. And then the next one is with the toes turned out, going up as high as I can. And then the last one is with my toes turned in. Just so I'm hitting the calves by putting the ankles and the legs and the hips in all different positions that they could really go in. And then I'm going to move on to some eversion and inversion. So what I do is just force as much weight as I can onto the outside of my foot doing inversion like this. Okay, so much weight that I would, even be able to just stand on the one foot. I find it very hard to balance there, but I'm taking all the weight there like that.
So for those playing at home, if you've had serious rolled ankle injuries before, this might be pretty challenging. In barefoot, it's going to be like, definitely don't try this in shoes because you have a lot more leverage where you could just go over.
Yeah.
But just ease into it. Apply some of that force, and it is a very active thing that he's doing there. He's holding his foot in place, not just flopping and
that's
sitting.
right. Yeah, absolutely. I'm using the muscles there. And then I'm going to do E version where I'm putting weight on the inside of my foot. Now with this one, I try to tell people to watch out that they don't try and push their knee in too much, because that lateral force on the knee is not good at all. And I've had a medial meniscus tear. So for me, when I do that, I immediately feel it in my meniscus on the inside of my knee. And if I'm feeling it there, it means that there's pressure going on that joint that isn't good. So even if you don't have a tear, that's just not something you want to do. It's going to create wear and tear. So what I'm trying to do here is to try to keep my knee as much as I can still, but push the ankle over as far as I can go.
So it's really isolating to that ankle joint rather than from your hip doing the
rather
rolling.
than doing it like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I do both sides, of course. And then I just do on top of the foot as well. So I put as much weight on top of my foot as I can. Okay. And then I change sides. And that's really, well, at least for all of the big things that a foot can do, that's really taking it through most of its movement and putting it under load so that the muscles are working to learn how to withstand those positions.
Yeah, so again, it's not like we're doing a static stretch session here. This is similar to the mobility warm-ups we'd be doing in like the squat routines and the where you're just taking the joint through the range of motion with a bit of load. So it's a bit different from just flexibility, and it's not quite just strength either.
Yeah,
it's that a mobility warm-up. Yep. But again, we just have to remember that the feet are just part of the rest of the body, and you've got to train it in exactly the same way, because your feet have these amazing functions to do shock absorbing, to provide stability, and to provide power. So we've just got to give it the chance to do it.
Yeah, and what like that routine, a good question that I hope some of you would ask in a minute would be, how often do I do that? How many sets? How many reps? All of that. Exactly the way we did it there. I do that in every lower body workout that we do. So we do lower body workouts at Unity Gym and in the UMS on Tuesday and Friday. So we do that. It takes about a minute because we go through it really quickly, and our warm-up, the whole warm-up takes 10 minutes. But if you're somebody that was suffering with issues that we've been talking about this week and trying to avoid orthotics or trying to get out of orthotics, you could do this every day. And it's just a matter of using progressive overload. So if doing it every day is too much for you, then you do it twice a week to start with. So you've got that full 72-hour window of recovery. Then you increase it to every second day. So you've got a 48-hour window of recovery. And then if that is doing okay for you, you can do it every day. But because you walk around on the feet every day, so the feet are totally conditioned to having those muscles and those joints used every day. It's not like, when you're training your biceps or your chest or something and you do a hardcore workout and then you've got to rest for 2 or 3 days before you do that body part again. It's not like that.
But yeah, if you are only ever in kind of dress shoes or high heels or shoes that really are quite rigid, then your foot isn't used to doing those movements. It's kind of they're just blocks in there, so it will be potentially quite challenging. So again, depending on the type of person, if you're wearing minimalist shoes, more often it'll be much easier.
Yeah.
But again, just easing into it. And when Rad says putting as much weight as you can, it's
I'm not saying
all of your weight. It's
all
just
of your weight.
like
I'm saying as much as you can handle. So it might be less than me.
Exactly. It's all about just building up that tolerance and building that exposure, because as we've talked about so many times, it's all about building.
If I was somebody that had to wear heeled, hard-soled shoes every day for work, like anybody in offices in North Sydney, or if I was a woman that had to wear high heels for shoes, I would be doing that routine anywhere from 3 to 10 times a day. I would be trying to get my feet out of those shoes as much as I could and just to use the muscles, because it's the same concept of sitting in a chair. Like people say, I sit in a chair for 12 hours a day. How often should I get up and move my shoulders and stretch my hip flexors out? And ideally, if you could do this, I would do it once every hour for 5 minutes, to try and break the cycle.
Yeah. I'd be fighting the patriarchy once a day and just having better shoes that work for you.
Yeah. That's right.
That's up to you.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Okay, cool. So let's have a look here. We've got Abduel has commented again. He's saying, please can you tell me 3 exercises to add to my back workout to increase my pull-ups frame and fix
Really
my
does want
scapular
the
winging
feet.
in the same
Yep.
time. Brother, you need to watch that video, bro. That video has got more than 3 exercises that you need to
Yeah, maybe just let us know if you have already watched it and if there's
no,
something
yeah. If you
more.
watch that video and there's any more that you need, because that video contains everything that you need to know. We've got a hell of a lot of resources on our channel, but we keep these shows specific to a certain topic. So check that video out first. If you've got any more questions after that, let us know and we'll answer
And
them
the big
for you.
thing, like sometimes people are so obsessed about finding some crazy new exercise that they've never seen before, and that's going to be the answer to all their woes. But the biggest thing you're going to get a result out of is consistency.
Yep.
So if you just want a quick fix, then you're going to have a hard time with like moving anywhere with your body. It's
Yep.
all about
Yeah, that's
Maybe just suggest to regress the pull-up. Don't try and
Yep.
do a full body weight pull-up. It sounds like you're not ready for it. I would keep your toes on the floor. I'd watch some of our pull-up demonstrations where we teach regressions to
Yep.
use,
and work on eccentrics.
my mic wasn't turned on. So
Oh, Yanni, sorry, Yanni was just, I thought he had his mic turned on. Yanni was just saying, Abdul, that if maybe you're not ready for pull-ups yet, maybe you should be looking at some of our beginner variations for pull-up progression. And there are ways to regress a pull-up without using your whole body weight, and that's what a lot of people need to do. The pull-up is actually a very, very hard exercise. You might look at people like myself or any of the guys in this room doing pull-ups and think, oh man, I want to be able to do that. But you don't understand the work that's gone into us being able to do that to make it look easy and to make it look effortless. It's not like 3 months of work. For me, to be able to do decent pull-ups has been a journey of about 20 years. And that's not to discourage you, but I'm telling you now, I mean, I could do pull-ups 10 years ago, but I couldn't do them nearly as well and nearly as many of them as I can now. Not even close. Like I remember 10 years ago or 7 years ago when I got out of the army, I could do, Yanni and me were doing workouts where we were doing 5 sets of pull-ups, and I could do maybe 5 or 6 pull-ups in the first set and about 1 or 2 in the second set. And I just finished my workout of pull-ups where I did 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps in every single set. So I'm still getting better at them, 10 years later.
But as we said, we're not going to talk about that in this podcast.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Okay. So let's have a look at the big mistake that people are making with orthotics is that they don't have an exit strategy and they don't realize that orthotics are a band-aid. It's something that should be used as a temporary fix. It is not a long-term solution, no more than putting your arm in a plaster cast if you break your the bones in your forearm, or if you break your humerus up here and your arm has to go in a cast to hold it still so that the bones can set again. That is not a permanent solution. That's something that you put on for a short amount of time until the bones regrow together, and then you can take it off out of the cast and then start strengthening the muscles.
Again, just to clarify, we are talking about for the majority of people. There are certain people, if you've had, born with a club foot or you have certain deformities, and you're working with a podiatrist who says like, nah, for you, this is really gonna give you a better quality of life. So again, just make sure you are working with a professional on this. But again, with the ethical side of things, what we want is a two-way discussion here, and this goes for more than just orthotics. Like if you want to, you've got to be asking your health practitioner, and if they're not giving you satisfactory results about other options, and if why this over that, if there is a significant cost to you, then
it's not just that. I think what you said earlier in this show is a really, really good thing, and something that I want to give everyone here. This is a key insight. I want you all to understand what I'm about to say is a key insight to this show. When you're a patient, you have options, and you have to do your due diligence to figure out what those options are, because not every practitioner is going to give you these options. So when you go to somebody and they tell you, you've got this condition and this is the only way to fix it, it's up to you to go and seek out some other opinions and have a look. The person that goes and researches what car they're going to buy for a month gets the best deal and gets the best car. The person that just sees a shiny car on a poster and goes and buys it because it looks nice is the person that's in the mechanic 6 months later spending $5,000 because they bought a lemon. And the same thing goes with your body. The person that goes to a practitioner and just gives all of the control to that person and just says, whatever you tell me I'm going to do, it's the person that doesn't get the same results as somebody that goes, okay, that's really great information. I'm going to go now and see what this person has to say, and then I'm going to do a bit of research myself, and then I'm going to collaborate that information to figure out what my best course of action
What
is.
you've also got to understand, I know Phil's dying to say something here, is that practitioners are only human, and they, just like everyone else, get tired, and they have good days, they have bad days. Now, when we do these shows, we're pretty fresh. We're doing this in the morning for us, and we've thought heavily about this stuff.
And we're always
we've had
right.
time to plan
We're,
it.
you know.
Well, we bring in different insights and
That was a
different
joke.
angles in. But it's very different to the relationship that you have with your practitioner. And you've got to also understand that it's so like I've sometimes been to a doctor, and they are like at the time of day when they've seen 1 million people, and they're fried and they're exhausted, and they don't have the brain capacity to think outside the square in that exact moment. That doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad doctor or a bad practitioner. They're human, you know.
Your
and for
mic isn't
them,
working.
the easiest option that they genuinely think is going to solve the problem might be to prescribe you orthotics, rather than think really deeply into the problem, you know. Anyway, that's all I have to say about
Yeah,
that.
100%.
Unfortunately, Jan, his mic wasn't working, so I hope that you heard some of that. Anyway, look, Phil, what did you want to say?
I was just saying, like, I totally agree with, you know, being well informed and looking up information. I am a bit hesitant on going full Dr. Google and being like, well, I've read the internet and I know all the answers. Like, do trust that professionals have, you know, they've spent a lot of time studying this stuff, but I think understanding that there is generally, like, you have options, and especially when there's cost involved, like big costs of either come back and see me every, you know, week for the rest of your life or every 6 weeks or whatever, like that some practitioners are known to kind of get into. When there's significant cost involved to you, like try and have that conversation, that two-way conversation about whether there are other options and yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so guys, Abdullah has asked another question about pull-ups, and I'm gonna do you a favor, brother. We're gonna ask a question here. I'm gonna get Yanni to put a little poll in this video, and I want you to click up here, yes or no. Do you want us to do a week on pull-ups, on how to do pull-ups? Because the truth is, it isn't a short answer to the questions that you're asking, Abdullah, and they're really good questions because it is a movement that a lot of people want to master, and I know that we've got a lot of people in the gym. So click that button up there. Let me know, yes or no. Do you want us to do a week-long series on how to improve the pull-ups? Because there is a lot to it. It isn't just as simple as how many days a week do you do it and give me 2 exercises to do. And I think that we could really easily do a full week on that. So let us know, guys. If we get enough votes, then we will absolutely do it. Let's move into some shout outs. We're running out of time now. So we've got RK Calisthenics Workout Channel is saying hello, bro, on our orthotics for flat feet. Hello to you too. And Seth Williams is saying on the golfer's elbow best treatment methods. Thank you guys so much for this. I suffer from golfer's elbow. I've watched all your videos several times. I'm going to summarize what I think you recommend. Number 1, eliminate what causes the pain for 6 weeks. Number 2, start with I would say don't eliminate what causes the pain necessarily for 6 weeks. Eliminate what causes the pain for, you know what, I'm going to let Phil take this one because he's our tendonitis expert. So, Phil, you can read that out. Read from number 1, and then you let him know what you think.
Tendinopathy. Sorry, we're just getting... tendinopathy is something I get really excited about, and I'd really like to kind of go and do these episodes again and do a deep dive on tendinopathy because it's really hard. It's a really challenging one. But what he's said here is eliminate what causes you pain for 6 weeks. 2 is start with isometric only, with broomsticks and dumbbell exercises for 1 to 2 weeks. 3, go to the eccentric movement. Do only the negative portion of the wrist curls with a dumbbell. Do the positive with the other hand. Do that for 1 to 2 weeks. Then both eccentric and concentric for 1 to 2 weeks. And I assume massaging with kettlebell can start at step number 2, but not sure. Is my summary correct? And then, by the way, I'm only on step 3, eccentric, starting today. Tendinopathy is a really challenging thing, and I think that video that you've had a look at there, which is from a while ago, is that's a really great way to start. I'd say for eliminating what causes you pain is probably not ideal. So doing it, because I can't go into this, otherwise I'll go for an hour.
Yeah.
But basically, like a little bit of pain with tendinopathy is generally good. The 24-hour pain is the important feedback. So if the next day you wake up and you're like, oh, I can't move my arms, then you've gone a bit too hard. But tendinopathy is all about providing the ideal amount of load, so not too much and not too little. And the way, going from isometrics to concentrics and eccentrics is good. But yeah, follow that, see how you go. but we'll do another deep dive on tendinopathies in a
Yeah, we will. We're going to do a whole week on tendinopathy soon, so I can see that Phil's like just ready to explode on this one.
Yeah, it's my fave.
So, Lisa.
Quick shout out to Dark and Am. Hello from Massachusetts, USA. Really enjoying the shows. I usually only get to view them after the live broadcast. Epic that you joined us live, brother.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, awesome. And Quack is saying, beg to advise to strict ring muscle or beginner to advanced strict ring. Oh, you want a show on beginner to advanced strict ring muscle up? Well, yeah, sure, bro. Again, let's see if we get some votes for it. So if anybody wants us to do a week on going from beginner to advanced strict ring muscle ups, let us know. And if we get enough. If we get enough input, Quack, then we will absolutely do it.
Yeah, Holly, put your question in there, and then that can give us, we can have ideas for shows to do in the future. And also for Dark and Am, thanks for joining, and yeah, definitely hit us up with some questions so we can, give you what you want.
Holly, you don't get a question until you tell us your real name, or at least the initial.
No, it's the internet. It's
to give us a clue.
It's allowed to be anonymous.
I'm kidding.
Okay, all right, cool. So let's have a look if we've got anything else that we can say here. So on the back and core, oh no, Yanni's answered that one already. So Lisa C has said orthotics for flat feet on yesterday's show. Thank you, Unity Gym. This is an information-rich video. I have done some soul crunches.
Soul crunch.
We love that. And walked with awareness of my feet. I must say my feet are feeling better. Thanks for the shout-out and advice, Phil and Rad. You're absolutely welcome. Thanks for tuning in, Lisa. And to everyone soul crunching out there in the world, thanks for...
I think it's like, the body really does crave movement. And for something like your foot where you haven't really thought about before, and when you do start getting a bit of muscle activation in there and it does feel good. So yeah, keep at it. Thanks for feedback.
Cool. All right. Well, that's all we got time for today, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, Holy, what is your name, bro? Quack is the people are asking, man. Quack is asking as well. I can see it.
Let's keep this discussion going after the show. If you want to know.
Oh no, Quack is saying yes. Do a whole week on pull-ups. It looks like the tribe has spoken. I think they want a week on pull-ups.
Oh, I might have to sit that week out.
No way, man.
Keep this discussion going. If you want a week on pull-ups, I'm going to put a little.
We could do a month on pull-ups, in all honesty. So
let's do a whole year.
Yeah, we'll do a week for you. Abdul, you've got your wish, brother. Make sure you tune into every show next week.
Well done.
Because we're going to do an entire week
entirely. Well done.
Yeah. That's right. Come on, Holy.
He's asked for tips as well.
You've said all right. Well, let us hear it, brother.
No. Wait until the next show. Let's keep.
Oh, he's going for the next show. All right. Well, tune in to the next show where you're going to find out what Holey-K-Nights' real name is. That's what everybody wants to know. The people have spoken. Yeah. All right, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Let's do a
Health
whole
is
week
about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, it's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that
It's
far.
the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.